In the words of Abraham Lincoln, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first four sharpening the axe. Preparation is the key to success. By taking time to properly prepare for the task at hand, can it be accomplished ever so much easier? Hey, what's going on, world of YouTube? This is A New Breed. Know it's been a while, but had to come back and drop a video. If you look around at the state of the world today, with the threat of civil unrest, possible wars, there's a lot going on right now. And it's a lot to digest and take in. It's a lot to think about and ponder about, but right now there's no better time to start prepping than at this moment. I hope people realize that with everything going on, prepping is almost becoming a necessity. So, alleviating that out, I want to talk about the vision of a prepper. Now, I'm not going to say what each individual is or how they should prep. That's up to you. But sometimes the perception of a prepper is someone who stocks up on guns and ammo and, is just ready for war, which isn't necessarily true. You have different types of preppers for different situations. You have individuals who prep different ways. Now, for some odd reason, because of TV and movies and cinema, what's portrayed as a prepper is a little bit different than the reality, depending on the person. But I can assure you this. When shit hits the fan, you're not going to be the last action hero. You're not going to be Denzel Washington in the Book of Eli. You're not going to become an instant superhero who licks every shot and makes every shot count. I'm sorry, that just isn't. The percentage of people who would possibly be able to do that is almost non-existent. So let's be technical here. Please don't think that you are going to instantly become some former type of superhero when shit hits the fan. But I do want to talk about the perception of a prepper and different types of preppers. There are many different outlets as far as on the internet and YouTube, and there are so many different types of preppers. There's preppers who are more on to firearms, which I don't knock. There are preppers who are into gardening. There are different styles, and each and every person has an individual way of coming at their preps. So you can't knock one or the other, but we have to take from each and every individual or those who provide good information in order to become a well-rounded prepper. The point of prepping isn't to go into a combat situation. The point of prepping is to actually avoid combat, because any form of combat can ultimately lead to your demise. So it doesn't matter how much food, water, how well your shelter is. If you get into the wrong situation, that can instantly become someone else's. So there are preppers who stock up on canned goods, and there are preppers who have this extremely long list of things that they have. Sometimes go over that list and check it out and double check the things you have. There are preppers who actually stocked up on canned goods but don't have a single can opener except for an electric one. So that wasn't something they foresaw coming. I don't knock that. Well, actually I do, I'm not gonna lie. Because if the energy goes out, what's the point in having a bunch of electronic gadgets and gizmos and the most high-tech this, the most high-tech that? Even if you can charge it, which is cool. That's perfectly fine and good. I am a person who actually bigs up solar power, solar energy, solar generators. This is something I have myself. But there are certain situations where you may not have access to the electricity you need to run certain things. So it's always good to have manual stuff. Now, that's actually not the point I was going to get on, but just had to throw that in there because I was reading a story about some preppers who had prepped up and everything, and they had got everything, and they were so proud of their preps, and when stuff hit the fan, they didn't even have a can opener to get canned goods and didn't know how to do it. So they were it's a funny story. But I want to talk about, as far as prepping, now there are different types of preparedness. Like I said, you won't become the last action hero. Also, there are 3 points of preparation, and prepping helps you with the mental, the physical, and the emotional. Those three go hand in hand. If you're not mentally strong, you will not be emotionally strong, and then your physical will break down. If you are not physically strong, you have specific limitations. So there are people who stock up on guns and ammo, and I mean, they've got a bunch of them. They've got 50, 60, 70 guns, but if you have to bug out, how many can you carry with you? What are you going to have to leave? And I don't knock the gun prepper, trust me. You know, those people are set to defend their area, but if you ever have to bug out, what can you carry? What can you not carry? Even being, and then you have, of course, the food preppers. You have preppers who stock up on all different types of food. In each situation, you have to figure out what you're going to be able to carry. But you have to have the mental hardiness, you have to have the emotional, and you have to have the physical. And that is what I want to stress today. No, I kind of jumped around there, so don't mind me. But yeah, when you look at the emotional and you look at stress, stress is good in very small doses. But if you overdo stress, it can break you, not only physically, but it can break you emotionally. And even if the strong person becomes no good if they're shaking in the corner, and it doesn't matter if, you know, a person who is extremely mentally strong, but their physical limitations don't permit them to keep up with the group, because mental strength is phenomenal. Emotional strength is very important, because how can you lead or even help in a group if you're emotionally broken down and you're not able to really hold everyone else up so they can understand and be able to look to you? There always has to be that one person who provides hope. And hope helps. Hope is something huge emotionally. Our preps are meant to make life easier when shit hits the fan. Our preps are made for those three things, to help us mentally, emotionally, physically. Physically training yourself to prepare for the situation by going over simulations that may put you in minute stress situations, but even in controlled situations. Once you get into an uncontrolled situation, everything changes. So get comfortable with being very uncomfortable. Ultimately, you're not going to be in your comfort zone. Even if you have your preps, there are going to be many things that are going to go on. With the thought of civil unrest, it's okay to prep, but until you are put in that situation, you don't necessarily know what you'll do. You could have all the preps in the world, but if you're not mentally strong enough and things start to go down, rioting, EMP, electricity gets knocked out, when you are put in a situation that you know you can't get out of, that's when you have to think about how you're going to react. When you are put in a situation that you are stuck and there is no way out, that's when the body will choose to fight or run. And the fight or flight response happens almost instantaneously. You have to figure out and assess the situation. And not only the situation, but will you be able to live with what you've done afterwards? Because there are movies that I know everyone has watched a movie. I think there's one called Alive. And there's a couple other different movies where people had to resort to different things in order to survive. And at the end, they ended up committing suicide because they couldn't believe what they had done. So ultimately, their survival was for naught. So having the mental dexterity and looking even from an emotional standpoint, being an emotional guide for those who are around you, will you be able to take loss? Because you will take a loss. And I'm not saying of human life, it couldn't even be human life. It could be the loss of something as small as the internet. I know people who will possibly try to end themselves when they no longer can take a selfie and post it on social media and worry, and who are constantly worrying about the world, what the world thinks about them. So to a point, there is a mental standpoint that's going to come into it. Not being able to get out there and jump on your social media, not being able to watch TV, play video games, all these take a mental toll on you. And don't think I'm literally taking shots at any form of individual, because I like gaming, realistically. I like jumping on the game. That's kind of my stress release, but how will certain individuals react? So I go out, I started walking 5 miles a day, trying to get everything together, control the physical aspect, and figure out different outlets that don't necessarily require technology, electricity, etc., etc. Working out, getting yourself together, meditation, figuring out how to cope with stress and manage stress, getting yourself prepared in all three sections of what should be done in the body. Keeping yourself well and physically fit, educating yourself on different plants and plant life, occupying your time, even getting board games. These things are very important in the situations that may possibly come. I don't want to say they're going to, absolutely, but I also don't want to neglect the fact that people should not prep. Prep if you can. There are so many things that can go on, and don't just think it's the big things. There are small things, power outages. There are small things like floods, and I'm not going to say small, but these are on the grand scale of things. These aren't giga death situations or even mega death situations, but floods. Of course, with the almost toxic water, people are having to get up and leave their homes. People are having to pack up all their goods. People are having to take stuff and leave. So do people have the mental dexterity in order to survive after a situation like that? And I also want to bring up the fact of your home. Look at where your home is. Look around you at the things that you have, and look at the attachments to the individual things that you currently have. Will you be able to part with those? How many of these things will you be able to just leave? Also, will you try to come back and get certain things for memory's sake or keepsake in a situation that may not permit it? So that mental dexterity and that emotional dexterity comes in when you're looking at situations like that. There are people, and I know you've seen them on some of the movies and even survival situations, part of your past life that reminds you of something that can help you out or hinder you. Don't think they don't go hand in hand. Because an emotional attachment to a specific item that is lost, I've seen people go into depression, extreme depression, off something that they've lost. So you have to get yourself ready for mental toughness. Will you be able to leave the things you have behind? Will you be able to cope and help out? Will you be a physical help? There's a lot there. There's a whole lot there to try and digest and take in. And that is what I want people to think about. I'm going to do more videos. I know I say that, but, took kind of a hiatus. Been enjoying the outdoors, getting out there, prepping, gardening. There's a whole lot going on. Spring's hitting and it's a beautiful time. So, and being able to appreciate things for what they are. That's another thing. While you have it, appreciate it. Because when it gets taken away, start to prepare yourself to have it taken away, but don't necessarily take it for granted at the time you have it. That includes friends, family, and all the above. So get the things you can, prepare the best you can, prepare not only from an exterior, but prepare yourself on the inside, and that's something that I believe that a lot of preppers, some have prepared for, but there's a vast majority that haven't, because being in the situation will show how you react. And until you are set in a situation, and I mean not one that you can get out of, because it's easy to be in a situation and know that you could leave at any given time. And there are some people who have been in situations, whether it's firefights, jail, different things like that. When you step in and you're in a situation that you are completely uncomfortable and there's no going home, there's no looking back, and there's no, I can get out of this. Those bullets aren't going to stop. Those bullets aren't going to stop. For people in the military that I've spoken to, and then, people who have been behind bars, those cell bars aren't going to open and you can just walk up and go back to your family. So you literally, in those situations, wars aren't just going to spontaneously stop and all the troops are going to pack up and leave. So when you're in a situation where you have no other choice, that changes everything. So I do want to stress that, and I can't stress that enough, and those who have been through those situations know exactly what I'm talking about. Being very comfortable with being uncomfortable is going to help you out massively. I'm not telling you to put yourself in a situation that puts you in danger. I'm not even telling you to put yourself in a situation that you can't get out of. Ultimately, but understand that regardless of how many simulations you run, you can adapt to the situations and ultimately be able to form muscle memory, be able to form different things that will help you out of the situation, or that will help you mentally, physically, and emotionally cope with the situation, making it easier for you. So practice, simulate, keep it going, and remember to stay strong. Now, that's what I want to jump on. I always try to make my videos short, but I ended up touching on too many things and going around in circles. It's kind of my thing. So I do want to thank everybody for checking out the video. I hope you learned a couple things. I would love to work with some of the other prepper channels and get their take on things. But please sign up, check around, look at other channels, support them. Go out there and just learn from everybody, because I don't know it all. Other preppers don't know it all. But we can become the best and well-rounded preppers that we can be, and ultimately, be safe. So I want to tell everybody, stay safe, have a blessed day. Sorry the video was so long, and I will be dropping more. So y'all have a good one. Peace. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, comment, share, and of course subscribe, and click the bell icon for further notifications.